Hello students. In the last video we talk about a different type of chemical equations, right? So in this video specifically we are talking about balancing any chemical equations. Um, One of the thing that I discussed in the last video around the chemical equations is chemical equations basically obeys the law of conservation of mass. So what is this law of conservation of mass? Law of conservation of mass states that the total number of reactants in any chemical reactions is equal to the total number of species in the product as well. So the total number of atoms in reactant side and the product side should always match each other. So if you take any equations, right, obviously they are not going to match. Say for example, right, H2 plus O2 gives H2O. So here if you look at the oxygen will not be balanced. So whenever we are balancing a chemical equation, key important things and the rules and steps that you need to follow is, first and foremost, you need to balance the polyatomic ions. So what is meant by this polyatomic ions? So when two or three atoms combined together, we call that as a compound. But there are some cases where two or three atoms combine together, but they still unstable. So that is what we call it as polyatomic ions. So in this example, if you look at NO3 is carrying a negative charge, which is an anion, and NH4 which carries a positive charge, which is a cation, NH4 plus, NO3 minus. So whenever you are seeing any polyatomic ions in the equation, so that takes the precedence first. First and foremost, you need to balance the polyatomic ions. Once you are done with the polyatomic ions balancing, then you should look for any metals available in that equation. So if there are any metals available in that equation, you should balance metals, and then you should proceed with non-metals, and finally you should do any hydrogen and oxygen. So this is the step-by-step approach how you should balance any chemical equations. And in this process, you should always make sure that there is no fractions are allowed. So if there are any fractions, you need to multiply the entire equations with the denominator to eliminate that fraction and still continue to perform the steps as mentioned. So I am sure this video will give you a quick idea of how to balancing a chemical equation. We will also practice some of the balancing chemical equations in the subsequent video.